Since we moved from the horse to the gasoline engine, there has never been such a big change as is happening right now.
This is seed money that will return back to the American consumer in billions and billions and billions of dollars in good new jobs.
According to United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, 52% of startups fail within the first 5 years and nearly 75% don't survive past the 15-year mark. 58% start with less than $25,000, and starting an automotive company amplifies the risk, requiring substantial investments ranging from millions to nearly $2 billion. Imagine the weight of that risk, the pressure to create something extraordinary while navigating innovation, production, and market dynamics. And with that comes the inspiring and cautionary tale of Henrik Fisker, one of the world's leading automotive designers.
Understanding the product fundamentally really means that everybody in the company, I think, is inspired because they see that the leader in the company understands the product, and I think that's very important in the car industry.
By watching this video, you will get a clear understanding of Fisker's vision and strategy. Considering the length of this video, I will split it into two parts. The first part focuses on Fisker venture with Karma, while the second, linked above, delves into the second tenure with Fisker Ocean, where I will also briefly discuss the MKBHD review, explaining that it was not the only factor in the downfall of Fisker. Stay tuned, and if you find this video insightful, please support me by liking and sharing the video, as well as subscribing to my channel. Henrik Fisker, a visionary designer with over 30 years of experience, has brought about very striking, innovative, and timeless designs. Fisker began professional journey as an automotive designer at BMW in 1990. Within 8 years, he became the CEO of DesignWorks, a BMW subsidiary, leading a team of 130 creative minds. His breakthrough came with the BMW Z07 concept, which later evolved into the iconic C8 Roadster, a vehicle that even graced the silver screen as James Bond's last BMW. In 2000, Fisker joined Ford as a creative director, while simultaneously serving as a board member and design director at Aston Martin. At Aston Martin, he crafted iconic models like the V8 Vantage and the DB9, and he contributed to the Shelby GR1 concept. In 2005, Fisker founded Fisker Coachbuild, introducing beautiful designs such as the Arteca GT, Latigo, and Tramonto. However, the biggest risk he took was setting up his own company in 2007, Fisker Automotive. There he designed the captivating Fisker Karma and Atlantic. Unfortunately, this venture faced various challenges and ultimately failed. Later, he joined the VLF Automotive as a senior advisor, working on the Force One design and independently contributing to the 2015 Mustang Rocket. In 2016, Fisker announced his return by introducing electric vehicles under the brand Fisker Inc. The company has already produced the electric SUV Fisker Ocean and introduced 3 further models, the PEAR, Ronin, and Alaska. Unfortunately, this venture too appears to be nearing to its end. Now that we know the background and credentials of Fisker, before diving deep into this video to discuss the Karma journey, I wanted to take a step back and visualize and evaluate his performance against the other automotive startups which either made it very big or failed. Although there are many key metrics available, I just chose the strategy and execution for my analysis. Clear strategy and effective execution. Henry Ford, an automotive titan, exemplified this category. Ford started as an apprentice and became an engineer, and his journey wasn't a straight line, it was marked with failures. He failed twice, but driven by the motivation to make it big and learn from his mistakes. On the third attempt, he changed the industry game forever. Ford assembly line concept transformed the automotive industry, replacing horse-drawn carriages with mass-produced automobiles forever. Similarly, Elon Musk, credited for bringing mass-produced electric vehicles into mainstream, faced numerous obstacles. Financial risk and skeptics challenged him, but he persisted.
Essentially, the company was bleeding money like crazy, and just if we didn't solve these problems in a very short period of time, we would die. And it was extremely difficult to solve them.
How close to death did you come?
Within single-digit weeks.
With Tesla Model 3, a masterstroke, he made electric vehicles accessible and attractive to the masses. The expansion of supercharger network further accelerated global EV adoption. Lack of strategy and poor execution. Nikola Motor Company during Trevor Milton's tenure falls into this category. Despite lacking automotive industry experience, Milton envisioned hydrogen trucks. He sold this idea to the public and the investors and brought in massive amounts of investment into his company. However, without a solid strategy or execution plan, his action caught up with him. Legal consequences ensued, resulting in a 4-year jail sentence. At the end of this video, after explaining the complete journey with problem challenges and the critical errors that led to the downfall, I will place both of the Fisker's attempt on this chart. Stay tuned, and hence if you agree with me or if you feel differently, please share in the comments. Fisker Automotive was established in 2007 in USA with the ambitious mission to create a luxury hybrid electric vehicle.
Now, when I saw Leonardo DiCaprio drive, obviously, to the Oscars in the Prius, I thought, here's a guy who could buy any car he wants, but he wants to make a statement. And I thought there's got to be a market for good-looking, desirable green cars.
Their flagship model was the Fisker Karma, a 100,000 plug-in hybrid combined with a 2.0-liter turbocharged engine from General Motors with 2 electric motors, delivering an impressive 403 horsepower. The Karma featured a 20.1 kilowatt-hour battery, providing up to 32 miles of all-electric range. The Karma was produced by a contract manufacturer in Finland, Valmet Automotive, and later it was shipped to US. Although the Karma faced 2 years delay, but when it finally hit the market in 2011, it garnered a lot of praise, earning titles such as Luxury Car of the Year and Car of the Year from Top Gear magazine and James May. And the very first car was delivered to Leonardo DiCaprio. By 2012, Fisker Karma had already amassed 3,000 pre-orders, solidifying the demand for its innovative vehicles. To support its development, Fisker Automotive attracted substantial investment from prominent venture capital firms like Palo Alto Investors and Kleiner Perkins Caufield and Byers. This influx of capital, along with the provisional approval of $528 million loan from Department of Energy or DOE, gave Fisker a lot of credibility and allowed him to secure nearly $1.4 billion in equity and debt financing from its investors over the years. Next in line was the more affordable and mass-produced car, the $50,000 KX, known as Project Nina and later known as Atlantic. Originally intended for a release in 2015, the timeline of this car was adjusted to 2012 following the DOE loan approval. At its peak, Fisker intended to sell 15,000 Karmas and 100,000 Atlantic annually. Despite innovative ideas and designs, Fisker Automotive faced numerous challenges and made critical errors, leading to its downfall. Let's examine the details of these challenges and errors, challenges and problems. DOE loan and the media scrutiny. In 2008, Fisker applied for a $170 million loan from DOE, Advanced Technology Vehicle Manufacturing Program, to fund the engineering efforts for a Karma, and they also put up a separate application to build a more affordable model, later known as KX, Nina or Atlantic. However, assembling the Karma in Finland posed a political challenge in getting the loan approval, even though 65% of its parts by cost were delivered by the US suppliers. However, the impact on the US jobs was limited. To address this, DOE proposed funding both projects if Fisker took over a plant in the US and built the Atlantic domestically, accelerating its production launch from 2015 to mid-2012 as job creation became a priority. This opportunity was accelerated in mid-2009 following the announcement of General Motors to close 14 plants, including one in Delaware, which once employed 5,000 people in then Vice President Joe Biden's home state. By September of 2009, the DOE provisionally agreed to a $528 million loan, with $169 million reserved for Fisker Karma engineering efforts and the rest $359 million for Atlantic. Fisker immediately purchased a Delaware plant for $80 million, planning to hire 2,500 workers.
And Mr. Fisker, I want you to know that they're going to prove once again for you that they are the best in the world. And that's a fact.
However, securing the DOE funds became a double-edged sword for Fisker. Fisker had to fast-track the Atlantic project by 3 years, and the fact that Fisker joined the ranks of Ford, Nissan and Tesla as DOE loan recipients without even selling a car, they became a center of media scrutiny. Although it was agreed with the DOE that the first fund would be used for Karma's engineering efforts being produced in Finland, media outlets painted a picture that Fisker was using US taxpayer money to create jobs in Finland. This negative portrayal, despite Fisker clarification, led to a public sentiment shift against the company.
The work should be done here, not in Finland.
Next up is the production and supply chain issues. The 2-year delay from 2009 to 2011 significantly hurt the Karma's success. This delay eroded the consumer confidence, resulting in a lost momentum in a rapidly evolving market, leading to some customers to cancel their pre-orders. This delay also negatively impacted the suppliers who had invested in production lines and reserved their capacity for Fisker. Late payments of up to $200 million and rushed delivery demands strained their relationship with the suppliers, leading to production halts, quality issues, recalls, and damaging reviews. Unfortunately, Fisker faced several recalls due to its issues with the battery supplier A123. In 2011, 239 Karmas were recalled due to a coolant leak from the batteries that posed a fire hazard. In 2012, a Karma broke down during a consumer reports test within 200 miles, resulting in a very poor review, severely damaging Fisker's reputation. This was again due to the defective battery modules from A123, leading to a recall of all Fiskers, and not only Fiskers, as this supplier was delivering to other OEMs as well. They had to recall everything, resulting in a recall cost of $65 million and basically contributed to the bankruptcy of the supplier, jeopardizing Fisker's production. Later in 2012, 2 Fiskers spontaneously caught fire, leading to a recall of all 2,400 units due to a fan issue. Natural disasters. Just when you think that recalls were already bad enough, in 2012, 338 Karmas were destroyed by Hurricane Sandy, resulting in a $33 million loss. The insurance company contested the claim as their coverage was only during transit, but in this case, the cars had been waiting on the port for an extended period due to repairs. This issue was eventually settled out of the court for an undisclosed amount. Sadly, this event marked the end of Fisker, and there was no hope of its survival as there was no further capital left. Critical errors, and the first one is unrealistic production targets. The decision to bring forward the Atlantic's production by 3 years while already behind on the Karma's timeline proved disastrous. Unrealistic targets clashed with the operational realities, leading to further delays and resource misallocation. This, coupled with the pressure from DOE and the government to create jobs and meet production deadlines, led to rushed and flawed manufacturing processes. The second critical error was over-designing, lack of design freeze, and losing the big picture. Throughout the development of Fisker Karma, its design was not fixed, with modification continuing till the very last year in 2011. However, in the automotive industry, freezing the design at least 2 years before the production is crucial. It allows time for mass production tooling to be prepared, preventing last-minute costly alteration. When design changes occur late in the process, the costs escalate exponentially and quality can suffer due to use of prototype tools, which can also lead to slow cycle times until mass production tools are ready. Then there are examples of over-designing, which are also responsible for a huge financial stress. For example, the front-end exhaust design.
If your window is open in the front, you're just getting exhaust right in your window.
This design caused excessive noise and reduced horsepower. A simpler rear exhaust solution existed, but it was ignored as the team had to follow the Fisker's vision, leading to costly fixes in 2011. Another example, the elegant gear knobs and the animation. They are nice, but does it add value? Would it make someone to buy the car? No. The rear seats, do they add value? Would it make somebody to buy the car? Absolutely yes. Was it properly designed? Absolutely no. Fisker's over-ordering and stockpiling of parts resulted in a staggering $50 million to $100 million of obsolete inventory, mostly due to last-minute design changes. The next critical error was the financial mismanagement and the lack of transparency. The DOE loan was dispersed in multiple stages upon meeting key targets, and Fisker missed the targets. And consequently, the DOE halted the loans in June 2011. By then, Fisker could only access $192 million from DOE, leaving it short of the required funds to develop the Atlantic domestically. Furthermore, Fisker inflated values and undisclosed financial issues eroded the investors' trust and contributed to the downfall of the company. Just as an example, by the end of 2011, last-ditch attempt for funding, Fisker inflated the value of the company to $2 billion, including $720 million in already consumed private equity. The full $528 million DOE loan, although it was halted, and he valued the Delaware plant at $700 million, 30 times its actual investment. This was in December 2011, but 2 months later in 2012, he disclosed that DOE funding has been halted and shut down the plant in Delaware right afterwards. When it comes to production, nearly 2,450 car models were produced, each incurring a loss of up to $35,000. Using my basic calculation, the opportunity lost from 2009 to 2012 due to car models production delay, this amounts to nearly $2.5 billion in revenue. Imagine if that sum would have flown back to American taxpayers. We would not have been discussing this right now. And lastly, dependence on a single supplier. Relying solely on the new battery startup A123 for batteries was a critical vulnerability. When A123 faced issues, Fisker had no alternative, leading to quality issues and later to production halts. In conclusion, placing Fisker's efforts on the chart, it becomes evident that there was no clear, consistent strategy, and this significantly hampered their progress. The heavy reliance on fluctuating funding led to frequent change in plans and improper execution. This, coupled with the constant design changes up until the very end, completely against effective car development, was a recipe for failure, and hence this chapter closed in 2013. And if you found this video insightful, please support me by liking and sharing the video and subscribing to my channel. See you in part 2.